journey to Eurosong 2025.
Hi guys, I'm Nile and you are listening to the Eurovision Podcast.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the Eurovision Podcast, the journey to Eurosong. We're back with another episode today as we continue our journey to Eurosong 2025 on the Late Late Show on the 7th of February. We got another interesting little act today, Alex, don't we?
Really interesting act. Like, we're proper in the thick of the journey now. Like, we've got a few songs by this stage, and we've heard all different kinds of music. I think today's one is probably the most radio friendly and familiar sounding. Would you agree?
I agree. And probably the one that is most under the radar because, as we've seen, leaks are everywhere about Eurosong the last month or so. And this artist has gone under the radar, which is great to see because that's what it should be about. It should be about surprising people at home and getting people excited for it. But yes, another great act. And that, of course, is Nile.
Yeah.
Nile with the song Growth. Eurovision.
I look to your skies, feel your light. So it begins, raise our voices, hear our cry. Now I can feel it, the ebb and flow. Feel the earth moving to distant drums. Universe, can we go? Feel the love, let it go. Universe, can we go? Feel the love, let it go.
Which is, how would you describe it, Alex?
I think it's a very fitting name because it kind of starts similarly in a quiet place and then grows and flourishes into a really strong and catchy song. Like, like, it really has been stuck in my head all day since we've been chatting to Nile. So yeah, fantastic song. Shall we have a chat with him?
I think so.
Let's do it.
Here we go. Right, everyone, the journey to Eurosong 2025 continues right now, and we are joined by a very, very talented person. Please welcome Nile to the Eurovision Podcast.
Hello, darlings. How are we? How are you? You're so professional. I love this so much.
We really aren't. If you saw us outside of this setup, like, we're really aren't.
No, that intro now, I was like, oh my God, this is so serious.
Shit's getting real, as they say.
How are you guys?
How are you? How are you keeping?
I'm good. It's been a busy couple of weeks, but I am revving for road. I'm excited. Eurosong 2025. How glam is this going to be, lads?
Like, congratulations, first off. How long have you known, and how have you kind of been keeping the secret, I guess?
Yeah, keeping it a secret is hard. Like, I'm from Limerick City and have a very extensive family down there, and we are all graced with the gift of the gab. So trying to keep it a bit hush hush from I told my mom, my dad, but like, you know,
were people on to you? Like, could they tell something had changed, or did you keep it all locked inside?
No, my general energy is as if I'm about to win something. So they're always like, "What are you doing now?"
That's the energy we need.
Delusions of grandeur. That's my general day-to-day aesthetic. So.
Love it. So can you tell us maybe how you got into music in the first place? Has it been something that's always been in your bones? You've just said, you have this winning energy about you. So has it always been like that?
Yeah, well, like I suppose like getting into music, I it was definitely when I was like primary school kid energy. I was like singing in the school plays and stuff like that, and I think I got the bug at a really, really early age. I come from a family of all very like Limerick City, big rugby family people. Like, it was all sports. It was all It was all athletics, and then I was just kind of a bit of a black sheep in the corner singing show tunes and like, what do you want? Like, so I think I went into theater at like, I'd say 6 or 7, stayed in it then for the rest of my life. So it's been a love story of decades now. At this point, I've been singing for as long as I can remember. So it's been a lovely journey.
Amazing. And from our research, like, you're not new to this industry, it's quite obvious. And when Michael Keeley was talking on the radio, even with Ray Darcy, over the last couple of weeks, one thing that he really underlined to the public is that he wanted someone who had experience. They don't want someone, who's brand new to the industry or using it as like a launch pad. From your Instagram and looking at your vocals, performing live is not new to you. That must be correct.
Yeah, no, performing live is my bread and butter. I love it so much. I've been, like I said, I've been doing it since I was a kid, like on stage and getting comfortable being on stage since I was younger. So it is my like, and some people are like, how is this? But like being on stage and performing and expressing and like, the actual physical act of singing in front of other people is such a kind of cathartic and therapeutic thing for me. So I'm so comfortable performing in front of people, and I'm so like, it's the thing I love, I think, most about music. Like the writing, the production in the recording studio is amazing journey, but like that kind of pinnacle moment for me is always getting onto the stage and expressing sound. Like it's such a great feeling to do it, and I don't know, it's like a workout in itself. Like you'd be wrecked doing it, and I do not give myself any airs or graces when with the songs I write. Everything is always up there. I am baiting to the high heavens, God help me. So it's a very, very settled space I'm in now.
I think I read somewhere, I don't know if you said it or someone else described your vocal, but it's like dramatic and it packs a punch. And it, watching, like Alex said, your Instagram videos, it certainly is such a powerful vocal.
Thank you.
Is it something that is hard to maintain, or is it just comes naturally to you?
No, like it. I think anyone who kind of sings, like I'm a very hefty, like heavy singer, and I think with that comes a lot of kind of technique and to make sure that you're singing health with health in mind. Because if you're singing from incorrect places while you're hitting those big high belty notes, you can feck up your voice very, very, very quickly. So I've been training. I've had a vocal coach for quite a few years now. Actually, I haven't been to her in a while, but I think that was a very important part of the journey of becoming a performing artist for me. Because if you're doing theater, if you're doing gigs, if you're on tour, whatever it is, your vocal health has to be kind of key, and you always have to make sure you're looking after it. And for me in particular, like I write and all my songs are quite big. But like my voice, if I have a glass of red wine before a gig, I can feel it kind of having a bit of a difference in my voice, whatever effect it has. But so yeah, it's something I always have to be super, super conscious of. But I love it. Like it's all part of that kind of lovely ritual moment of going and doing gigs. You're kind of, when you get in the zone, like it's it's very easy to get that into your mind, and it's like second nature now. It's part of stretching or getting ready for, like, if you compare it to like athletes and stuff like that, it's just the prep you need to do in order to play the best game that you can.
Yeah, and when we talk about experience, when we
the Eurosong, sorry, no.
Say that again.
I mean, sports references on the Eurosong, no.
And when we talk about experience, when we did our research on you, you're associated with some really pretty massive names and big stages. Can you maybe talk about some of that experience that you've had over the last number of years?
No, absolutely. Like I'm an absolute chancer is what I bring
Love
into it.
that.
Like, I've like the kind of the coolest things that I've ever done in terms of like collaborating or working with other people were off chance things that happened. So I think the two, like, I've done kind of back and vocalist gigs as well as my own stuff with the likes of like Dermot Kennedy, and I think the kind of the biggest one for me was performing with Rufus Wainwright, who is God, like mother supreme of singers. And it was just through, I suppose, the back and vocalist things is just through being online and like showcasing your stuff and showcasing your work and kind of knowing a few people. But I think one of the most significant ones for me was performing with Cynthia Erivo before she became the big Cynthia Erivo that we now love and adore. I was singing in Limerick for the marriage equality referendum, and I had was singing the song by a composer that I love. And my dad put it up on YouTube. The composer saw it, and it was at a time where I was like working as a barista. I was just like trying to figure out where and what I should be doing with my music. And he messaged me. He was like, "I've heard you sing this song. I am over doing a residency over in London with Cynthia Erivo. She was just about to go and do Broadway, The Color Purple. And we're looking for a male singer to fill in. Someone is after cancelled. Can you be here in this weekend?" I think it was a Wednesday or whatever. I got it, and I was like, "Oh my God, yes." Didn't have a passport at the time, so I was ringing, begging, borrowing, and stealing. My dad was like trying to plan like a ship to get me over illegally over to the UK because there was no way of me being able to get over without a passport. But managed to get it. Got a student card in the end, and I was over there, done 2 weeks, and it was one of the most amazing experiences because obviously like Cynthia is one of the biggest, most like amazing technical singers and storytellers through song that I think I've ever seen and have had the fortune of working with. But I think it really kind of it was that pinch me moment of like, okay, cool, I could do this as a career. So I think that kind of gave me the confidence to be able to be like, look, if people are wanting you to come in and do these lovely and amazing opportunities, then you should be confident in yourself to be able to go and get them. So it's been really, really nice, and I've been very fortunate. But like I said, very lucky as well. Like chancing my arm to get into these places with people, and I'm like, do they know I'm like a Limerick man, like singing?
And we have to ask then, what are you holding space for in 2025? We do it.
I'm holding space for that. I like the next sequel of Wicked. I'll be Alphabet. That's the space. I'm holding
Can you
space
give us
for
your best,
Defying
like,
Gravity,
Wiki
darling.
riff then? Whoa!
Whoa.
Hello.
Okay, that is getting clipped. We've got our sound bite.
That's on the socials.
Done. Yeah.
So I guess the next stage really is to kind of talk about Eurosong then, and how have you come to this moment of deciding to throw your hat into the ring to represent Ireland at Eurovision?
Do you know what? It's been a bit of an ambition of mine for quite some time now. I think the turning point for me when I was like, oh, I think the music that I make would fit in really, really well here, because going back to just like my background, and I guess I came from a house of big sports fans, but somehow Eurovision was that thing every year we'd all come together and sit and watch. And it's like watching Eurovision has been part of my family since I was a kid, which is amazing. And I watched it as a punter, and then when I started doing my own stuff, I think when Goa came into the Eurovision, which was I think maybe in 2018, I could be wrong, but Salave, that song, that kind of nice mix of paying homage to like the traditional roots of Ukrainian folk music and doing it with a modern and electronic twist, I was like, this is incredible. And that inspired me. That inspired me to then start like thinking about how I compose songs and make songs. And like I was like, I want to write a Eurovision song for it. So I had written a piece I go down to I don't know if you've ever come across a pagan rave down in Phil and the Bjaltana, and it's now turning up in a couple of festivals, but a close group of my friends of mine run that, and it's just an amazing weekend to go down. And Billy McGlynn is the name of the gentleman who runs it, and he has I think a PhD in Irish folklore and an absolute boss and a half. He makes all these really cool mad costumes and really like paying tribute to ancient Ireland essentially, but bringing it into a rave space. It's one of the best experiences you'll ever go to. So I had written a song with that in mind ages ago, and I was like, oh, I'd love to perform it at it. I performed at it. And then over the past year, I've been writing an album, and this song was always at the back of my head. I was like, oh, I haven't done more with that song. And the producer I'm working with at the moment, which is Chris Bibenza from Diffusion Lab, I came to him with it and said, "This is the kind of demo I think it'll be a really cool Eurovision song. Let's see what we can do." And a day in the studio we spent, and that's what you're hearing now. It was such a quick journey. Like I kind of gave him what I wanted. I gave him the example of Goa, and it became a thing. And then literally, I think that was like just before Christmas, like maybe October. Submitted it before the deadline, and then it was a while until we heard that we kind of got into it. So I kind of had left it outside out of mind because I was like, okay, like this didn't come, but I have it for the album, so I'm going to release it into the album. And I think the week before Christmas, then I got the call, and I was like, oh, stunning.
And like let's talk about the song then. Growth. Tell us the meaning behind it. And what was you said you spent a day in the studio kind of working on it, so it must have came to you quite quickly.
Yeah, so the demo of it was already kind of created by myself. So I write and kind of do the bass arrangements of all of my tunes. And then working with Chris, he put his magic, like Gandalf the Grey magic production dust on it and turned it into a bop. But Growth essentially is about paying homage to that, since like as humans and as like we're kind of pack animals, so to speak, and we like, tribes and being part of communities has been embedded into our souls since the beginning of time, essentially. So I wanted to like nod to this idea of ritual and the importance of having a tribe and having a people around you, and how you gather and how you celebrate the things. So back in the days, back in ancient times, it was dancing around a fire, drums, song, vocals, using things to get to that transcendent other level, be it worshiping something, nature, whatever it is. I loved that idea, and I wanted to kind of bring that ancient and traditional journey to a modern world, I guess. So so the song has all those elements of like the heavy drums, the kind of guttural vocals, but also influenced by modern electronic sounds as well, which is the kind of the happy middle ground of where I make music, I guess. And it's about that. It's about paying homage to Mother Nature. But what do we do as a society now? How do we worship? How do we pay tribute? It's going to festivals, and it's going getting lost in a crowd at your favorite gig, or dancing around a fire at a festival. So like our habits as a people haven't really changed, just how we worship the things that are a bit different. So the song is about that, and a kind of rallying cry of coming together, finding your tribe, and celebrating the world around us in a way. So I hope that's translated in it.
Absolutely. Like, it's a fantastic song. I personally really, really like it. I love how much it grows throughout it. And now that you've explained it, it totally makes sense. But obviously, we know you've got the voice, you've got the song, but a really big part of Eurovision and Eurosong as well is obviously the staging. And I think different years will have different approaches. Some people nearly write and will immediately have staging in mind. Other people's come to it later. How are you working out staging?
I think with as someone, like my process in terms of writing songs and creating things, it's a visual journey as well for me. Like when I'm writing my songs and when I'm in recording them, I'm kind of been taken to what's the scene, or what's like how's the music video looking and stuff. And a lot of the sound and the kind of the weight of the sound is quite cinematic. So I think I'm always kind of going into writing with the visual in mind, and I always had this really, really cool idea that will be revealed on the Late Late Show. But the idea of it is that that it's almost you're starting off in this kind of back in the day prophecy is happening, and it's like I love Dune and all those movies where these like hooded figures are kind of looking into the future and stuff. So it's paying homage to that and the muses of like Greek mythology and stuff, and they're foreseeing the future of the world. And each section has a song to what you were saying there. Like, the song gets bigger and bigger, and all like the journey is of like we start off in the birth of the world, and then it comes into the growth phase of it, where everything is bountiful and beautiful. But as the vision gets kind of more and more heavier and stronger, then it kind of moves into the destruction. So it's this whole kind of cycle of life that I want to portray with the performance. So I have some really cool visuals that I'm working on with the guys from RTE that I can't wait to see now. The drafts are coming in soon. And I have some lovely dancers joining me as well to do some contemporary pieces around me. But it's all going to be this really cool symmetrical movement stuff around it. So I don't know, the inspiration. Did you ever see OA? That series?
Yes, yeah.
And all those really mad kind of dance movie things that are really
Yes.
really looking. So I want to create something similar-ish to that. So hopefully it all happens. I have to do a rehearsal now next week.
And
But
like watching our national final, it's quite a small space, compared to the Eurovision stage. Is that a challenge in itself, trying to create a performance in a small area without kind of thinking ahead to the big stage in Eurovision, or is it straightforward for you?
I don't think so. I think like anything can be scaled, and I think like the bigger the stage, obviously the better. But like any artist in Ireland is so familiar with working and like performing and kind of coming up in those smaller spaces. So I think innately we all as performers or people who are touring have to kind of understand. You're like one night you could be performing on a stage that's like high up with like plenty of space for the instruments, and others time it'll be really limited. So I think it's an exciting challenge to always go into something and be like, okay, cool. Here's the dimensions of what we need to be working with. This is what we're playing with. Cool, let's go. So I think once we got the dimensions of the stage early, so we're building the performance around the space that we have, which I think is really important. But then also that can be so scalable. Then like we have dancers and backing vocalists in for the performance of the late show. But I have a couple of ideas of how I want that to come in live if I am lucky enough to get through to the Eurovision as well.
Exciting times.
No.
And throughout the song, like the voice, it gets to a real flourish at the end, in the instrumentation, but also the voice. So I'm really hoping that we get to hear your vocals really let go, because as I said, from your Instagram, there are some really fantastic vocals. So really excited to see how it all comes together.
Yeah, I'm excited to do it as well. Actually in particular with this song as well. It's such a movement in vocals, and like I think I like anytime I'm performing, getting to that kind of peak or climax moment at the end where there's like hey 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 hey, all those bits. Those are the parts I'm always really excited to get into, because for me it kind of feels like it's an element of you being lifted out of your body. Singing is an out of body experience for me. Sometimes when you get lost into something, and that's what I always try to do my best to get into that mindset. But like when you get lost into something and you're just letting the vocals go run free, that's where you make the stuff that connects to people. I think we're all connected to things emotionally. So once you have that anchor to how you sing, that hopefully other people will follow you on that journey.
And we're at the release stage now, and it's all kicking off. But what are your plans now between this moment and Eurosong? I say you're busy with rehearsals and media and everything like that. What are you up to?
Yeah, there's the song is going to be revealed on the 20th, which may or may not have come and gone by the time this is published. But the single is being released on the 20th on Ray Darcy, and then I think all the pieces are coming together. I'm working with an incredible stylist for the outfit that I have, Megan McGillney, who is her label is called Solstice. So I'm working with her to make a cool kind of druid-esque piece of work that we'll be kind of doing fittings for the next week, and then dance rehearsals with the guys to see how that's coming along, and then some vocal rehearsals, and then also releasing the song on its individual form as well, and trying to get some press for that. So it is busy, but I love the chaos.
Yeah, I just wanted to ask, do you get nervous? Like when you're about to walk out onto that Eurosong stage, how do you deal with that moment? Because you have the experience of big moments like that. Do you have things that you go back to calm yourself down, or is it just so enjoyable for you that you don't even need to worry about that?
No, I think nervousness is like, I guess it's changing your mindset of it being nervousness to being like the butterflies before you go on. So I always try to think of it that way. And I think before any big performance, I tend to not try to look too far ahead, because that's when I get most nervous about if I think too much about, oh, there's like loads of people going to be here, or oh, like I'm kind of trying to focus in on moment by moment. Do you ever watch Friends when Chandler's like getting married, the day he's getting married, and they're like, okay, now we're going to put on the suit, and now we're going to go out.
Yeah.
It's like a small step-by-step process. So I think my routine is probably that. I love a good cup of tea before I go on stage, and just kind of have a bit of zen for myself before I go on. But I think it just switches, but even like you get the jitters before you walk onto anything, but the second you kind of open your mouth and start actively sing and taking those breaths, it goes away, and you're almost in that kind of, now I'm here, this is what I want to be doing, so let's go. And it does, like, singing often can be a fever dream. Like you can be sitting down and be like, oh my god, it's over. Like, where is the past 3 minutes gone, like, so that always happens to me. Things speed up so quickly, and then I'm like, oh, the gig is done. I was it, like, I try to be in the moment and stay in it, so you can get lost very easily, and if I'm doing that, then I know I'm happiest.
And you mentioned earlier, to go back to Eurovision,
Yeah.
you clearly are a fan. If you've Solveig and go and Eurovision has been on your radar for the past few years as well. Can you tell us a bit of your favorite entries over the years from Ireland or from other countries?
Yeah. I think Goa was my number one. I remember I done a deep dive into it was Goa, and then the next year was Shum, which was another incredible tune. So I love them. I'm dying to go see them. They came to Dublin last year, and I fucking missed them. I was raging. But big fan of them. Loreen, I think, was when Tattoo came out. I thought that was another one where I was like, this is just the pinnacle of like incredible music, and I love her and like how she kind of communicates the important music. It's so therapeutic and meditative to her. So I've been a big fan of her. From Ireland, I loved Brooke Scullion's song. That's rich. Oh
Taste
my god,
robbed.
it was a bop and a half. I met her there, I think last year. She was over at. I had a few friends over from to my house, and she came over, and she's a superstar. Like, she's an
Yeah.
absolute queen. So that was definitely one of my favorite Irish entries in a long time. And obviously Bambi Thug, I think, has really, like, I think without seeing Bambi Thug last year, I think the direction of where I'm going with the song probably would have been quite different, because I think she really, or they, excuse me, really made a really solid impact on what kind of songs can be entered into the Eurovision from Ireland. I think not that we were playing it safe, but a lot of the songs were commercial poppy, like strong.
We were playing it safe, Niall. You can say it. Don't
Yeah.
worry. We
We
No, like,
agree.
we were playing it safe.
playing
Yeah.
it a bit safe, and I think Bambi Thug, they really opened us up to the possibility of doing something that's a bit alternative, and that's amazing. So I think that definitely drove me to want to go into it this year as well. They were fucking fabulous. So I'm buzzing.
Yeah. So nearly time. Can't
Nearly
believe
time. Yeah, we're only
God, again, half an hour.
few-
Time has flown.
it.
We'll wrap it up in a few seconds, but I guess we're going to give you this moment to speak to the Irish public, speak to the Irish Eurovision fans, and really tell us why you should represent Ireland at the Eurovision Song Contest.
Look, I think the Irish public want to see something that is a bit different, but what I want people to feel is like their ancestors are coming up around them, grabbing them and pulling them to the nearest like dance circle. That's the energy that we need. And I think Ireland, as like a creative institution, has so many incredible artists coming out, and I think my songs are a really good representation of that kind of sound. And I was born and bred to perform, and to be able to represent Ireland on a scale like Eurovision is something that I will not take lightly, and I will make the country proud. And the song is a bop. Like, you want to send a bop of a song to the Eurovision. So I think once people hear it, they'll enjoy it. And again, you can visualize it and see it being on a massive feck off stage. So I'm ready to do it, and I'm buzzing.
Love it.
Love
Love
it.
it. And obviously, you'll be very busy. So, where can people find you and keep an eye on you during this promotional time? Where are you on socials?
Come find me on Spotify. Add me to the playlists. Listen to my music. I have loads of songs out for my upcoming album, which is called Parish is Burning. So that's going to be released at some point over the next year, depending on how the next few weeks go. We'll see when that is, but definitely an album will be coming out this year, and it's an homage to kind of to my upbringing, growing up queer in the more rural parts of Ireland, and kind of leaving that place, and the whole album is about coming back and finding that closure. And it's a nice mix of, again, that kind of traditional meets like modern sounds, and I'm so excited to share it. So I have 3 songs from that out on Spotify. I love a bit of Instagram, I love a bit of TikTok, but contact me on any platform and I will surely reply at some point.
Well, thank you so much for talking to us. Best of luck. It
Thank
sounds
you.
so exciting. I think it's going to be a really, really good show that we're going to have on that Friday.
Oh
Anything
my God,
else?
yeah, you know all the other artists performing. How exciting. You didn't know. Oh my God.
I'm obsessed with you.
You have all the secrets, you're ready. I'm like literally going around being like, who is it? Who's there?
Take them to the grave. Take them to the grave. Thank you so much, Niall.
Thank you, Nile.
Thank you guys. Love your work.
And there we have it. That was our chat with Niall prior to the Eurosong release day. And you can just tell, not only with Niall, but with all the artists, they're so excited to talk about Eurosong because it's obviously been building up. So many of them have said that they've known since before Christmas. So, you know, we're nearly at the end of January. It's a very long time to be sitting on this big piece of news. So
I don't know how they keep it to themselves. Like, that must be torturous.
it's funny because the pattern this week is a lot of them aren't keeping it themselves. Like, we've seen it with so many of the acts.
testament to the people they know, because both of those people that have told us that, they've told quite a few people.
Yeah.
It hasn't got out into the press.
No.
We had no idea until, you know, their song came across our desk for these interviews. So very exciting.
Yeah.
And in terms of the song, I really like it. I'm dying to know how he stages it and how his vocals are going to be. I think that's something where he will blow us out the water with, and people might not suspect this to do really well, but when he gets on that Eurosong stage, he sounds prepared. He knows what he's doing. This is, you know, an average week for him by the sounds of it, because he's a professional singer. This is nothing new. So I'm dying to see how he gets on. What about you? What do you think?
Yeah, I think so. We were mentioning quite a lot throughout the interview about checking out his Instagram, and you definitely should. It's at Nile Music. But he's so many videos on there that just showcases his live vocal. And oh my God, like I was getting Sam Smith, Lewis Capaldi vibes, kind of London grammar as well. And yeah, I think for me, this song is definitely one that will benefit so much from staging. I think it's like you said, a great radio track, and I can hear it on a Spotify playlist, no bother. But this will definitely become what he was saying, you know, that vision of the strong meaning behind it, with, you know, a vision of staging that he's going for. I think this will just be propelled into another stratosphere, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, really exciting.
What do you think of the song then, overall?
I really like it. I think it will go under people's radars, as I said, because you know, there's nothing really out there about it. But what I'm interested to know from you, Conor, is, do you think, could this win? Because we can talk about Eurosong and qualification. I would say this absolutely can qualify with the right staging, with incredible vocal. Is it a winner in Eurovision?
I'm enjoying this. The episodes you're doing, you asked this question. Do you think this could win? I don't know. I don't think Ireland is in a state of trying to win, if that makes sense. Like, I don't think that should be like the goal, and I don't think like it is our goal. I think it is another qualification, but I think that this is definitely like a solid qualifier.
Yeah,
and I think there's often, for me anyway, there's often songs year by year that kind of sound a bit like this, in a way of like, oh, it's a strong pop, you know, good song that you hear on the radio. It's not out of place at all. But then it gets this like jackass staging, and it's just like, how is it suddenly in the top 10? Do you know what I mean? I think this could be that type of song that is like, you know, kind of slept on throughout the season, and then suddenly it comes to like rehearsal week, and you're getting clips of like this like circle of like backing singers, Nile in the middle, like dramatic lighting, flashing fog, everything, and then you're like, holy shit, this is actually like a top 5, top 10.
Yeah.
So I think it could go in that direction, definitely.
Absolutely.
Is it a winner? Who knows? Who knows? It's so early to know, and you don't know how the season will plan out. So it's so early on. Could it win? Potentially. I don't know. We'll never know. We'll see. Do you think it could win?
I agree with you. It's probably too early to tell. I don't know. Does it have the secret sauce necessarily just yet? But we'll wait and see. In terms of qualifying, you know what? When you were talking there, all I could do was picture Germany from last year. I think that's a really good comparison of a song that your dad would put that on and love that song. Your mom, your sister. That's really radio friendly. I think Euro fans would probably turn their nose up at it, maybe say, meh, it's boring, or, there's no dancers there. But when it actually gets on stage and millions of people are watching it, people will pick up the phone if it's really well done, because it's a very listenable song. I think it will, pun intended, grow throughout not only, rehearsals and when it gets on stage, but even within the song itself. It comes from, a small place right up until the last flourish. I think will be really magical and could be a real moment on stage. So yeah, I feel like Germany actually could be a good comparison there.
Don't let Lou hear you say that. She'll be on a rant now about Germany. She always I get that. I think that's probably what I was going back to with like how this is staged, because I do think it is like I keep saying, like a solid pop song and something that needs to be amplified with staging. And I think like it's probably the song that has the most kind of range of ideas that you could go with this staging. Like it is kind of
That's very true.
You can make this as epic as you want, and you have a safe vocal ability with Nile. Do you know what I mean? It's like he's going to perform it, and he's going to give you a solid vocal. So
and
like,
he's not going to be dancing during this, so it's not like something's going to be taking away. So we're going to have a strong vocal.
I think if this were to go to Eurovision, I think camera angles would be key for this, and like what's going on around Nile, because Nile is going to like stand there, perform, give you everything, whereas like everything else around him is going to be so important. So look, we'll wait and see. The biggest hurdle for not only Nile but all these artists is Eurosong. You nearly have to be as nearly more creative at Eurosong than you do at Eurovision, because it's such a small space. You need to be so careful about it, overdoing it, underdoing it. You need to get that balance so right, or else we've seen it so many times. Great songs come and then they just fall flat because it's killed off by Studio 4 and RT.
I know. Thing. But you know what? That's a challenge that they need to overcome. And if you can't overcome that challenge, you're not probably going to overcome the challenge of being in front of millions and millions of people. So, for the ones who do make it through and make it work, it's a testament to them. And we saw that with Bambi. They were working with very little, yet that staging that they had in Malmo was like out of this world, probably the best we've ever seen. Yeah. So yeah, I just like the will they win question, because it kind of boils it down, because we can talk all day about what we think, but there's just something in the secret sauce.
Yeah.
That I always have to say, will it qualify? Will it win? I think this is a safe qualifier for sure, if done well.
Yeah. I agree with you there very much, Alex.
Thank you.
But yeah, like we're nearing the end.
And sorry, the Cynthia Revo. That was cool. We have to mention that. We're holding space for Nile. And Eurosong and all of the other contestants. Yeah.
No bias here. No
bias.
But yeah, like we're getting closer and closer to the end of the week, of course. Eurosong acts are coming in thick and fast, and we're nearly there. We're nearly there.
Believe it.
It flies by. We're obviously recording this very much in advance, and it's like we're nearly coming to the end ourselves, and it's like, how are we suddenly at this stage after all this prep and stuff? It's crazy, but
because you're waiting all year for it, and then all of a sudden, and then it's over, and then we'll have our songs. So yeah, it's crazy times, but really exciting.
But we're busy everywhere. So Alex, where can people find us?
Make sure to follow us on all of our socials at Eurovision Podcast on Instagram. We're on X. We're on TikTok. We're also on, what's the new one?
Blue Sky.
There's
a new one every week.
New one, yeah. And obviously make sure to download and save us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, wherever you get your podcasts. Particularly for this week, as we've already said, we're going to have news coming out every single day. We'll be posting once the announcements come out. So make sure to keep us in your pocket on all of the socials.
And as well, if you guys have some time and would like to donate to Eurovision, you can visit us at buymeacoffee.com/Eurovision. Any bit of donation, any bit of coffee will help us to fund things like this, our brand new studio that we're in the process of getting used to and sorting things out. So give us some time on that. But yeah, if you have a spare few moments, if you would like to do that, visit us, buymeacoffee.com/Eurovision. But Alex, I guess for now, the journey to Eurosong continues.
Exciting.
All we gotta say is, guys, slán go fóill.